Assalamualaikum. My name is ATHIRAH and today I will be presenting my research method proposal entitled Brexit Influence on United Kingdom Gender Equality Policy. So this is my abstract and I've highlighted all the contents in there regarding with the elements that I needed to write one, such as background of research, problem statement, research objectives, methodology and findings. As a brief introduction, Brexit is the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union, and its withdrawal has had serious implications on the gender equality policy in the UK. This is because the gender equality policy in the UK used to be aligned with the EU, but since the UK has decided to exit from the EU, there's this uncertainty within their frameworks, and the UK is more likely to go back to their masculinized Westminster model, and this has raised concerns within feminist activists in the UK. My study has three problem statements. Firstly, Brexit has disrupted the UK's alignment with the EU gender equality policy standards, and this raises concerns about the future of women's rights in the UK. Secondly, the impact of Brexit on UK gender equality policy has created uncertainty and potential policy gaps. And lastly, UK women's rights advocates face significant challenges in addressing gender equality issues in a post-Brexit environment. My paper has three research questions. Firstly, how has Brexit affected the UK's alignment with EU gender equality policy standards on women's rights? Secondly, what has been the impact of Brexit on UK's gender equality policy? And lastly, what challenges do UK women's rights advocates face regarding gender equality policy post-Brexit? This research has three main objectives that it would like to achieve. Firstly, is to analyse how Brexit has affected the UK's alignment with EU standards on gender equality policy. Secondly, is to examine the impact of Brexit on UK gender equality policy. And lastly, is to identify the challenges faced by UK's women's rights advocates regarding gender equality policies post-Brexit. So a bit of a background regarding my research. As I've stated before, Brexit is the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the European Union following a 2016 referendum, and their withdrawal resulted in significant political, economic and legal changes. And the UK's gender equality policy was once closely aligned with the EU, but since Brexit, it has introduced an uncertainty regarding the long-term sustainability of these gender equality policy laws. So this research aims to examine the Brexit influence on United Kingdom's gender equality policy. So for research methodology, I use a qualitative approach and I used secondary sources such as journals, as you can see, and articles, and also I used the gender equality policy map from government official websites such as the UK's Parliament website. For my literature review, the first article I used is entitled The Direction of Gender Equality Policy in Britain Post-Brexit Towards a Masculinized Westminster Model, written by Anna Sanders and Joanna Flavel. So this article examines the trajectory of gender equality policies in Britain following Brexit, and it suggests a movement towards a more masculinized Westminster model. And this article analyzes the implications of detaching from EU directives that previously guided the gender equality measures in the UK. The second article I use is What Future of Gender Equality Policy in the UK After Brexit, written by Rachel Verde and Jay O'Reilly. And basically, this article highlights the specific challenges Brexit poses for women in the Northern Ireland. Lastly is Brexit and UK Policy Making an Overview, written by Geoffrey Dudley and Andrew Gamble. And basically, this article examines how Brexit has reshaped UK governance, and it also highlights the challenges that Brexit has imposed in the legislation of the UK. So as you can see, these are the chapter outlines of my paper. For my scope of study, the areas that I choose to focus on is the gender equality policy area, so I will not be focusing on other legislation that Brexit has affected. And the time frame that I've chosen is the UK's official withdrawal from the EU, which is in 2020. And for my geographical scope, I chose to focus my study solely on the UK, which also includes England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. For significance of study, firstly, the study highlights the significance of understanding how Brexit has influenced UK's alignment with EU standards regarding gender equality policy. Secondly, it provides valuable insights into the broader impact of Brexit on gender equality policy in the UK, and it also emphasises the need to address emerging gaps and vulnerabilities. And lastly, this research underscores the challenges faced by women's rights advocates in the UK and also offers a critical perspective on the efforts required to uphold gender equality in a post-Brexit context. Last but not least, these are the references that I used to conduct my study.